You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the January 10th, 2023 meeting of the Michigan City Board of Zoning Appeals. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Hello, everyone. I am Sylvia Collins. I am the Assistant Planning Director. I would like to welcome you guys to the February 10th, 2020, January 10th, 2023 Board of Zoning and Appeals meeting. I would like to open the floor for elections. Do I have any nominations for president?
If I might, Ms. Collins,
Yes, sir.
I think it would be appropriate if you call the roll and we determine who's present and how they are present.
I can definitely do that. Thank you so much. I will do the roll call of officers. Mr. Jackson,
Here.
Mr. Klinder,
Here by Zoom.
Ms. Stransky,
Present.
Ms. Vance,
Present.
Mr. Zimmer.
Present.
So goes your roll call of officers. Now I would like to open the floor up for the elections. Do we have any nominations for president?
I'd like Mr. Zimmer as president, please.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So goes the second. Do you accept?
Thank you.
Do I have any other nominations? Seeing none. Congratulations. I call for the vote. Mr. Jackson,
Mr. Zimmer? I voted for Mr. Zimmer.
Mr. Klinder,
I agree for Mr. Zimmer.
Ms. Stransky,
Mr. Zimmer, please.
Ms. Vance,
I agree, Mr. Zimmer.
Mr. Zimmer. Congratulations. I will step down and I will let you take over the meeting.
Thank you, Sylvia.
So the next office would be for the vice president. Is there a nomination for vice president? Go ahead.
I nominate Fred Klinder for vice president.
There's a nomination
And I'll
for Fred
second that,
Klinder,
please.
and there's a second.
Yep. Sir.
Fred, do you accept the position of vice president?
Yes, I would happily. Thank you.
Okay, so then we'll take the vote.
Mr. Jackson,
Mr. Klinder?
Mr. Klinder,
Yes.
Ms. Stransky,
Mr. Klinder.
Ms. Vance,
Yes, Mr. Klinder.
Mr. Zimmer.
Yes, Fred Klinder.
Congratulations.
Next office is secretary. Is there a nomination for secretary?
I nominate Deborah Vance.
Is there a
Second.
second? There's a first and a second for Deborah Vance as secretary. Do you accept the position?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We'll take the vote, please.
Mr. Jackson,
Ms. Vance?
Mr. Klinder,
Yes.
Ms. Stransky,
Yes.
Ms. Van,
Yes.
Mr. Zimmer.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Okay, so we have our officers. The next item on the agenda is approval of minutes from our regular meeting, which was last December 13th. Assuming everybody has reviewed those, if there are no objections or changes, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I call for the vote. Mr. Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Klinder,
Yes.
Ms. Stransky,
Yes.
Ms. Vance,
Yes.
and Mr. Zimmer.
Yes. Thank you. So the next item is our, the two petitions we have this evening. The first one is B 103-22. And who is going to, this is a continuation from last month. And so who is going to speak to this petition this evening? It's Kenneth Smith requesting a special exception use. Good evening, sir. Please state your name and address.
Kenneth Smith, 3201 Mall Court, apartment AC, or A5, sorry.
Thank you.
Hi, welcome. Can you just give us a brief overview of your site and what you're interested in, why you're here?
The site is 1603 Franklin Street. It is a deemed to be a tattoo parlor. Pretty much art studio. What I plan to do is what I've been doing for the last 5 years in my previous location is tattooing, drawing, servicing my clients who are interested in my service. Working with other artists that are a part of my team and my apprentices.
Thank you. So I will start with my report, and then we'll move to the attorney's report. So throughout this process, his petition was submitted to different departments. The fire department had no issues with his request. The water department had no issues with his request. The sanitary district had no issues with his request, and the attorney's office had no issues with the request. This is the report on petition for B 103-22, 1603 Franklin Street. The petitioner is requesting a special exemption use to change the existing use of 1603 Franklin Street from a retail shop to a tattoo establishment. The property is zone B2, general commercial. Required zoning 07.02, use and development of land and buildings shall only be for the following specific use unless otherwise provided for in this ordinance by obtaining a special exemption approval when all applicable standards cited in the Article 24 Special Exemption Review requirements and procedures, subjected to the requirements set out in section 14.04B. The petitioner is requesting a special exemption use to change the existing use of 1603 Franklin Street for retail sales shop to a tattoo establishment. The current use is established as retail sales. The petitioner, however, is interested in opening a tattoo establishment, which is only permissible if the petitioner is granted a special exemption use as established in our zoning ordinance, section 07.02. The standards for special exemption use are found in zoning code section 24.05B and are set out below in italics with the department's proposed findings. I will begin with my findings. First, general welfare. The proposed will not be injurious to public health, safety, and general welfare of the community. My response. The proposed development will not cause any threats to the public health, moral, or general welfare for the establishment of the proposed use. The current use is established as retail sales, and a petitioner, however, is interested in utilizing the property for his tattoo business. The proposed use will continue to align with the surrounding properties and will have no impact on the existing flow of the businesses. The proposed project will not change or alter the existing structure. Number 2, surrounding properties. The special exemption use will not be injurious to the enjoyment of other properties in the immediate vicinity for the purpose already permitted, nor substantially diminish or impair properties' values within the neighborhood. Granting this exemption use will not be injurious, as the proposed use will allow a new thriving business to exist in what was once a vacant property. This will improve the overall aesthetic of the property and the overall value of the community and businesses. This site is zoned for B2 commercial, and the proposed expansion is following the ordinance. Number 3, hazards. The special use shall not be hazardous to adjacent property or involves use, activities, materials, or equipment that will be detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the person, property through the excessive production of traffic, noise, smoke, or odor, fumes, or glare. My response. Allowing the special use will not be any more impactful than what the site currently allows on the property. The site will continue to function as a business like all the surrounding properties. There will not be an increase in noise, smoke, or fumes at this site. Number 4, public facilities and services. The use will be served adequately by essential public facilities and services such as highway, streets, police, fire protection, drainage structure, water, sewage facilities, refuse disposal, and schools. My response. The use will provide adequate utilities, access, roads, drainage, and other necessary site improvements. Because with the change in use, the property will continue to follow the regulations set forth within the zoning ordinance. This site will not impact the utilities, roads, access, drainage, and or other necessary improvements any more than what the site currently allows on the property. This site has the required amount of off-site parking, cutting down on traffic and congestion as well. Number 5, developmental requirements. The development of the property will be consistent with the intent of development requirements established by the ordinance for several uses. The development will be designed, constructed, operated, and maintained to be compatible with and not significantly alter the existing or intended character of the general vicinity based upon county land development plan and ordinance. My response. Approval of this special use will not adversely impact or alter the existing pattern of development of the surrounding areas. The development will be aligning with the overall intent of the county city comprehensive plan as well as the city zoning ordinance. The petitioner is not requesting a change to the zone, which is B2. The current use is established as a retail sales. The petitioner, however, is interested in opening a tattoo establishment, which is only permissible if the petitioner is granted a special exemption use as established in our zoning ordinance section 07.02. Number 6, ordinance intent. Granting the special exemption use will not be contrary to the general purpose served by this ordinance and will not permanently injure other properties or use in the same zoning district and vicinity. My response. The special use exemption will not permanently alter the pattern of development of the surrounding areas. The petitioner is not requesting to change the zoning, which is B2, which therefore aligns with the use in the same zoning district and vicinity. Number 7, County Land Development Plan. The proposed use will be consistent with the character of the zoning district in which it is located and the recommendations of the County Land Development Plan. The requested special exemption use will be consistent with the character intent as set forth by the existing zoning ordinance and comprehensive land development plan. The petitioner is interested in special use to utilize the property as a tattoo establishment. This use is allowable through special exemption in B2 districts and therefore aligns with the use in the zoning district and vicinities. Number 8, use regulations. Where there is use-specific regulation contained in Article 14, the special exemption use shall comply with all the regulations applicable to the use. Section 707.02 of our zoning ordinance provide that a tattoo establishment are eligible for approval as a special exemption use provided the requirements of Section 14.04B are met as followed. The site shall not be within 100 feet of a residential district. The site shall not be within 1,000 feet of an adult regulated use, and the use shall not operate after 10 p.m. The recommendation of this department, the department recommends approval of B-103-22 special exemption use, provided the requirements of Section 14.04B are met as follows. The site shall not be within 100 feet of residential district. The site shall not be within 1,000 feet of an adult regulated use, and the use shall not operate after 10 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Collins. Mr. Hale, we'll hear your report.
Yes, this is Steve Hale via Zoom. My attorney report for partition number B-103-22, petitioner Kenneth Smith, owner Urban Sites of Chicago LLC, requesting a special exception use for property located at 1603 Franklin Street. Initially, I would point out that you have had my report in written form since prior to our December 13, 2022 meeting. And that included a listing of all the materials that were submitted by the petitioner. I would at this point add that since our December meeting, the petitioner has provided me with copies of the remaining notices that were required to be sent to adjoining property owners. I have found then that the petitioner has met all of our notice conditions and requirements, and therefore you are free to consider this matter. Next, as a matter of clarification, I would point out that a single tax parcel includes 3 storefront portions at the 1600 address. So there are addresses 1601 Franklin Street, 1602 Franklin Street, and the address that we are concerned with and the property we are concerned with is that portion that is commonly known as 1603 Franklin Street, not the entire parcel. Next, I would point out that Ms. Collins has very adequately set out what is at issue here. Our zoning ordinance requires that for the use of a tattoo parlor, a special exception use must be granted by this body. And that 7.02 section of our zoning ordinance requires that the petitioner meet those requirements as pointed out by Ms. Collins of Article 14.04 subsection B. Therefore, you must find that the petitioner has satisfied all the requirements of the standards 1 through 8 that Ms. Collins read to you with her findings, and you may do any one of the following. You may approve the petition with the findings consistent with the section that we've cited to you. You may approve the petition with findings consistent with those standards and add conditions that must be met. Those conditions would have to be included in the motion. Or 3, you could deny the request. Or 4, you could continue the hearing on the request of the petitioner or your own body, or to get more information. I would point out that in closing, Ms. Collins has set forth the 3 conditions that are contained in Article 14.04 subsection B of our zoning ordinance. She read them. The site cannot be within 100 feet of a residential district. The site cannot be within 1,000 feet of an adult regulated use district. And finally, the site cannot operate, or the business cannot operate after 10 p.m. An appropriate motion would reference both Ms. Collins' findings and the condition that she set forth.
Thank you, Mr. Hale. Any questions or comments from the board members? Is there any public comment related to this petition? Would anybody like to step forward and make a comment? Please give us your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Charles Shove. My address is 7196 East Grace Avenue, New Carlisle. It is a LaPorte physical address, though. LaPorte County, I'm sorry. I would like to say that, sorry, I'm a little nervous.
It's all right.
I really enjoy going to this particular business, and I think it's really good for the city. It's really good for him and his employees. The atmosphere is great, and I think he deserves this, and so does the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
My name is Adam Solchek. I live at 2101 Greenwood Avenue. I guess I just have to speak the same way that he did. I mean, love going there. He's providing, not only he's living the dream, man. He's running his own business, and he's actually like helping out a lot of people. He has workers that rely on him. Everybody needs to work. And I mean, I came out here a handful of years ago and just trying to do the same thing as everybody else. And it's a great place to be. And I really think that he deserves it.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other public comment?
Hello.
State your name and address.
Keisha Smith, 210 South Street, Michigan City, Indiana. I'm speaking on behalf of my son. He deserves this. He is bringing a lot of stuff to the community. Far as just the tattoo shop, he does volunteer. He has went to give back to his community. He goes back to his school, teaches art classes, show them how to, draw. He did help out with adult with learning disabilities. So he reaches out, or his talent, he does stretch it out and shows different variety of people who never looked at art the way that he does. By him being African American, most tattoo parlors are, you don't see most African Americans with tattoo parlors. He wanted to do something different, not just tattooing, but he does, you know, murals, paintings. He just wanted to bring another, you know, light to art, and anybody that wants to do it, no matter if you have disability or anything, you can do it. So he does reach out, you know, to the schools, different, wherever he can reach out and, you know, show his talent and give his talent, he does. So I just want to say I'm proud of him, you know. He's sticking with it, and I just want him to just flourish and succeed and open up more businesses. So
Thank you.
I'm proud of it.
We want him to succeed also. Well, it seems like everybody has a very favorable opinion of Mr. Smith and his business. Any other public comment?
Can I say my name and address?
Yeah.
Yes.
Marissa Renteria, 6248 North, 400 West, Michigan City, Indiana. I think Kenny deserved this because I'm so sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. I had this much better down there.
It's okay, just relax. We're just everyday people like you are.
Okay. Well, I want him to have this, bro, because I'd lose my job. I kind of work for him. I don't want to lose my job. It'd be great if it kept open, but he kind of like hired me when I was in high school. I didn't really have a plan for life. I was kind of just like, oh, I'm just gonna do stuff. I don't know. I was kind of very just everywhere, and it feels like he gave me a passion, and I didn't have that before. I didn't have really goals or anything, so it kind of helped me save me in his own way. And I really appreciate that, so I really want him to have this. And I mean, I've made a ton of connections from the shop, like with them. They're like a little family to me. And I would obviously want this shop to keep open. But yeah, thank you. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. Thank you so much. Okay, any more public comment? Any more praise for Mr. Smith?
Yeah. And I don't know how to come after that, but just to let you know, he did his due diligence to get an application in that is normally submitted by attorneys and people who know the regulatory process. He was no comeback back and forth about all. It was like this too, but it was, you know, it was dialogue, and he asked different questions, and he was very consistent with this application process. And just no matter how many times, maybe like 20 or 30, I sent him back. He was very respectful. And like I said, an application at this level to complete it on your own, and it wasn't your responsibility. I want to commend you for that. And you guys coming up and speaking on behalf of him just validates what I've already saw in these last 3 months. So you did a great job with this. So thank you.
No. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Collins. Okay, so is there a motion then for this petition? Remember what Mr. Hale said about including the conditions.
Mr. Zimmer,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the special exceptions use for petition number B103-22 for Kenneth Smith. In my motion, I would like it to include the planning department's report the attorney's report, and include the 3 conditions that was brought up in the planning department's report for the address of 1603 Franklin Street in Michigan City.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. That's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I'll call for the vote. Mr. Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Klinder,
Yes.
Ms. Stransky,
Yes.
Ms. Vance,
Yes.
and Mr. Zimmer.
Yes.
Motion approved. Congratulations.
Good luck, Mr. Smith. We'll look forward to seeing your business thriving.
All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. You have a splendid evening.
Okay, so our next petition this evening is B105-22, Neapolitan, Michigan City Incorporated. This is a holdover petition also from the December meeting.
Hello.
Please state your name and address.
Hello, my name is Zayed Tabara. Address is 150 East US Highway 20. We are here.
I'm sorry, it's petition under Fadi, so he's going to have to be the one to introduce himself. Sorry.
Yeah, my name is Fadi Daoud. Our address is 150 East US Highway 20, Michigan City, Indiana.
And now both of you can kind of describe the project if you want, but I just needed him to introduce himself. So.
We are here to ask for a petition for a special use to open a dealership, a used car dealership on the property. We currently own 2 dealerships in Michigan City, Indiana here. We opened the first one in August 2019 and the second one in December 2019. And as you can see, we like the city, we like the state, and we like to expand. From our reviews on our websites, both locations, we have very good positive reviews, 4.8, 4.5. We don't have any problems, no complaints. We provide quality care cars, certified. We have a shop that reconditions our vehicles before we offer them for sale. Most of our cars comes from local auctions in Indiana and in Illinois and also Wisconsin. And also during the COVID time, we were buying online from the East Coast. Now it's opened up, so we're back to local auctions. Man, that's about it.
What was the use of the building before?
It was originally, there used to be, from my research, there used to be a dealership before, then it changed ownership and it was a furniture place. And we took over, I think, a year ago, and we renovated the whole building. We did a facelift from the outside. It looks completely different. We put stonework on the front. We did the roof, I think, and we rehabbed the offices inside too. We have the checker tiles, black and white, like a speed track. This is, I think, originally it was there, and we kept it. It looks nice.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Ms. Collins, you can give your report.
Thank you. This petition was submitted to the city and different departments. The fire department had no objections. Water department had no objections. Sanitary district had no objections. Report on the petition for B105-22, 150 East Highway 20. The petitioner is requesting a special exemption use to change the existing use of 150 East Highway 20 from a furniture/auto shop to a car dealership. The property is Zone B2, General Commercial District. Zone 07.02, use and development of the land and building shall only be for the following specific use unless otherwise provided for in this ordinance by obtaining a special exemption approval when all applicable standards cited in Article 24 Special Exemption Review requirements and procedures, subjected to the requirements set out in Section 18.01B. The petitioner is requesting special exemption use to change the existing use of 150 East Highway 20 from a furniture auto shop to a car dealership. The current use is established as an auto shop. The petitioner, however, is interested in opening a car dealership, which is only permissible if the petitioner is granted a special exemption use as established in our zoning ordinance, Section 07.02. The standards for special exemption use are found in zoning code section 24.04B and are set out below in italics, with the department's proposed findings. The first one, general welfare. The proposed will not be injurious to the public health, safety, and general welfare of the community. My response, the proposed development will not cause an injury to the public health, moral, or general welfare for the establishment of the proposed use. The current use is established as a furniture store and or an auto shop. The petitioner, however, is interested in operating the property as a used car dealership. The proposed use will continue to align with the surrounding properties on Highway 20 and will have no adverse impact. The proposed use in the project will not change or alter the existing structure or foundation. Number 2, surrounding properties. The special exemption use will not be injurious to the enjoyment of other properties in the immediate vicinity for the purpose already permitted, nor substantially diminish or impair property value within the neighborhood. My response, granting this special exemption use will not be injurious, and the proposed use will allow the new remodel of the property that will improve the overall aesthetic of the property and the overall value of the neighborhood and businesses. The site is zoned for B2 business commercial, and serve as a car dealership in the same vicinity. The proposed expansion is following the ordinance. Number 3, hazards. The special use shall not be hazardous to adjacent property or involve use, activity, material, or equipment that will be detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the person's property through the excessive production of traffic, noise, smoke, odor, fumes, or glare. My response, allowing the special use will not be any more impactful than what the site currently allows on the property. The site will continue to function as a business like all the surrounding properties. There will not be an increase in noise, smoke, fumes, or any other glares at this site due to this use. Number 4, public facilities and services. The use will be served adequately by essential public facilities such as highway, streets, police, fire protection, drainage structures, water sewage facilities, refusal, disposal, and schools. My response, the use will provide adequate utility, access, roads, drainage, and other necessary necessities to the site. Improvements because with a change in the use, it will continue to follow the regulations set forth within the zoning ordinance. This site will not impact more than what it currently allows on the property. The site has the required amount of on-site parking, cutting down on traffic congestion as well. Number 5, developmental requirements. The developmental requirements will be consistent with the intent of the development requirements established by the ordinance for similar use. Development will design, construct, operate, and maintain to be compatible with and not significantly alter the existing or intended character of the general vicinity based upon county land development plan and ordinances. My response: approval of this special exemption use will not adversely impact or alter the existing pattern of the development of the surrounding areas. The development will be aligning with the overall intent of the county city comprehensive plan as well as the city zoning ordinance. The current use is established as a furniture stop. The petitioner, however, is interested in opening a car dealership, which is only permissible if the permitter is granted a special use as established in our zoning ordinance section 07.02. Number 6, ordinance intent. Granting a special exemption use will not be contrary to the general purpose served by the ordinance and will not permanently injure other properties or use in the same zoning district and vicinity. The special use exemption will fit in the pattern of development of the surrounding areas. The property is on B2, which therefore aligns with very similar zoning districts and vicinity. Number 7, county land development plan. The proposed use will be consistent with the character of the zoning district in which it is located and the recommendation of the county land development plan. My response: current use in this area are both similar to compatible and consistent with the character and intent added as in the general neighborhood as set forth by the existing zoning ordinance and comprehensive land development plan. The petitioner is not required to requesting to change the zoning. He is interested in changing the use to opening a car dealership, which is only permissible if the petitioner is granted a special exemption use as established in our zoning ordinance, section 07.02. Retail sales and change to a car dealership. The use is allowable through a special exemption, and B2 district therefore aligns with the use in the same zoning district and vicinity. Number 8, use regulation. Where there is specific regulations contained in Article 14, the special exemption use shall comply with the regulation applicable to be used. There is no specific regulations contained in Article 14 for the requested special exemption use. Recommendations of the department. The department recommends approval of B103, B105-22, special exemption use with the following recommendation. The special exemption use approve the requirements and just request that they validate one space per 400 square feet gross floor area of the sales room, one space for each auto service stall in the service area. And this structure shall be used as a car dealership only and not a vehicle service and repair. Yeah, I'm going to restate that. Sorry. The department recommends approval of B-105-22, special exemption use with the following recommendations. Special exemption use approval provided that the requirements of section 18.01B off-site parking meet these requirements as follows. One space per 400 square feet gross floor area of the sales room, one space for auto service stall and service area, as well as the structure shall be used as a car dealership and not a vehicle service and repair.
Ms. Collins,
Yes. Yes.
may I speak, Mr. Zimmer?
Yes, please, Mr. Hale.
I heard the requirements that you stated as per the parking ordinance 18.01 subsection B and the standards for used cars sales. But you referred to those as recommendations. Is it your recommendation that these be added as conditions to approval?
Yes. These are, yes, perfectly stated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the clarification. Any questions or comments from the board members for the petitioner?
Mr. Zimmer, I have a question for the
Yes,
petitioner. Gentlemen, can one of you
he
come up?
has a question for you.
I'm sorry. So, and please understand where I'm going with this.
Sure.
You have a piece of property that is located in the busiest part of Michigan City. You've done the stone on the front of the building. It looks great. Do you have any plans for landscaping or anything like that to help?
To enhance it a little bit.
Enhance it, exactly.
I looked at the old pictures of the building. We have on the side, we're gonna put a flower bed. The side that's facing not Franklin, the other side. So we're
facing
gonna
Highway 20.
yes.
Okay.
The side and the other side also there is a bed. We left it, and springtime we're gonna put some greenery in there, make it look nicer.
Is there any plans for anything along Highway 20 itself?
Along that way, no, not actually.
You can step up so we can hear.
I think so. I think we're not allowed to do any landscaping there because there's a gas line, there's a water line, there's a storage line. So if we put any trees there, we're gonna cover the view of the street, so it may cause an accident or something to the public.
Yeah,
So,
plus
yeah.
all the salt spray and stuff, nothing would grow along there. So as long as you landscape around the building, we would much appreciate that. Yeah.
I'm sorry. There is places that for landscaping greenery on this side and on the other side of the building. We're gonna keep it. Springtime, we will put some greens in there and bushes, flowers, and stuff like that.
Okay.
We want it to look nice.
Thank you.
Good. Yes. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from board members?
Yes, this is Fred Klinder via Zoom. Just as a point of clarification, I guess for me, that was, as indicated, an auto shop before, and now we're asking for it to be a special exemption for a car dealership. Is there really that a difference between those two?
Yes, there's actually a big difference. In our code, you're required for an auto shop, you don't have to follow the same requirements. A car dealership, you follow different requirements. So they're two separate entities and two separate regulated items.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would imagine the service station probably involves like hazardous materials and that kind of thing.
Fred, this is Skylar. If you can hear me, can you hear me? The difference is really it's retail versus service, meaning that you're selling a car versus bringing it there and it might be wrecked or it might need a new muffler or a new engine or something like that. That's kind of the difference. Now, it's not to say that you're not going to wash a car or detail a car, or you might pull it inside and beautify it to some extent before you sell it, but really it's more of a retail versus a service. Does that make sense?
Sure does.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Because I know they were talking about when you got them from auctions.
Yeah.
When we get them from auctions, they may have to do some simple things. Is that something that they're going to be allowed to do there?
Fine, store, wreck.
No, what I mean, when they get them from auctions, they're not wrecked.
Yeah, we're getting anything.
Yeah.
Buy them. Sometimes you need pieces just doing like small service breaks.
And that's what I was wondering, is that the kind of thing they can do when they're getting them from auction? Because when you buy them from auction, you're buying them and you don't know really what's going on with them, so.
Under this use, they are not permitted to do any repairs. So anything that would be identified as repairs with brakes, fenders, oils, all of that is permissible under a different use, just not this one. This one is strictly for a car dealership, and most of the times they outsource those things and take the cars to.
No, we do recondition our cars in the lot.
You won't be able to. Not under this use. It's only for sales.
Mr. Zimmer,
So we
can I
can-
jump in on this?
Yes, please.
That's not to say that since they have the other lots here in town, the cars could be dropped off at one of the other lots.
Right.
Work being done, and then just when it's finished, bring it to this lot, correct?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That they can do.
Yeah, we can't regulate what they do to their other properties.
Does it need a different licensing for?
Is it just a total different use?
Yeah, I did want to mention that on the floor plan that they submitted, it shows a large service area. It's like almost half the building. So it seems like they did intend to do servicing of automobiles here.
Yeah, it's not a mechanic shop for customers, but we recondition our cars before we sell them on site.
Not to say you can't do it somewhere else, but it's part of. Sorry, it's not to say you can't do it somewhere else. It's just that was part of the approval process.
Okay, my understanding really was that we can do that like the other two lots too, and that property. Is there any reason why we cannot do that? I mean, can we get a license for this or?
No, when the thing is you're here for a special use, so we're changing the existing use, which is not, it doesn't allow for you to do retail repairs or vehicle service. And in our zoning ordinance is under a different section, which means we will have to follow a different format and follow this same process over again per se, but it is a part of our conditions to give you approval based upon the understanding that this is not a vehicle service and or repair use.
In your mind, what does reconditioning mean? What does that?
The way we do our business, we bring cars from the auction. They are used cars. So before I put them on the front line for sale, I have a service guy in my lot that goes over the safety of the car, rotors, brakes. I don't do engines and transmissions hardcore. I don't do that. I outsource it. But reconditioning the car, oils, brakes, rotors, shocks, so we can provide safe and quality vehicles pre-used for the customers.
Yeah.
I do sometimes, we sell a car, it's an 8-year-old car, 7-year-old car, a customer comes back after a week, the shocks are making noise, we bring them and we change them on the spot. So that was my intention. Every dealer that I have somebody that reconditioned these cars on the car, on the lot, and we detail them, we clean them.
You do inside?
Inside, yeah. We do that. We do that inside. I do not offer mechanical work for customers to come back. It's just the cars that I bring from the auctions that I recondition them and then we sell them.
You have a spot to do it inside, like it's not storing it outside.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Drew. I apologize, James, get mad at me. This is all done interior, like you have a roll-up door, you pull it inside, it's all done.
We have checks. Yes, absolutely. I mean, in the two lots, you can see this is where we sell quality cars. I don't bring them and sell them just like that. We don't do that. We have to make sure that the cars are safe to drive.
No, we understand that. It's just that this property is zoned for a specific use, and that's not one of them. So we have to figure out what the next step is in order to.
Mr. Zimmer, if I may.
Yes.
Attorney Hale, this is actually a question for you, sir. In your attorney's report, in the back of it, I'm looking at section 14.05, motor vehicle dealers and service. Paragraph A, line 1. all repair work shall be conducted completely within an enclosed building. If a motion was made on this and that section was added as a condition, would that take care of our problem that as you're seeing it here?
When you say you add it, do you mean as a permission or as a prohibition?
Permission.
As a condition of
Approval.
permission, I guess.
I think that a more appropriate method for handling this would be to have the petitioner amend his petition. I feel in listening to this that it would probably require re-notification and another hearing by this body. And the reason I'm taking that position is that, as Ms. Collins pointed out, the requirements for a used car sales use are different than a servicing and repairing use. There are other additional requirements that we would have to add. And because that use is a, let's call it a heavier use, it seems to me that we might want to consider doing that and getting it done right.
Thank you, Mr. Hale.
Mr. York, do you have some additional comments regarding the different uses?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of do. I think I do. Where were you reading that? I'm sorry, I'm not belabor. Where are you reading that? I got it.
Actually, this whole first.
You're reading that section.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That way, public government.
Give me just a second, Mr. Hill. That's a different use.
That's what they got. This is what we did now. That's.
Oh, no, he's on the computer with one of the city meetings. So he's involved in a meeting with the city of Michigan City. Can I have him call you back when he's done? Okay. Okay, well, he shouldn't be much longer. Okay. He'll enjoy talking to you. You never know with him. Okay, well, I'll have him call you in a little bit. Go ahead.
I guess I would just say this. I would offer up this. I would say that in the past, when we have granted special exception uses for, say, big Chrysler, things of that nature, they have service repair there. It's a service shop. They don't conduct business. Let's say they're not, tearing out an engine in front of their business. They're there for, be it new cars. I know there's a little difference, but they're repairing, like you get a scratch in your car, you can take it there and get it buffed out, things of that nature. It's minor repair. You still take your car there to get it serviced to some extent, oil changes, things of that nature when you buy it. I would just say, I would just offer up that it's been granted. We've granted it kind of, umbrella before as a dealership. I guess I would just offer up that it's been included before.
Mr. York, I take it that you're taking the overall view that the primary use is one of used car sales, and that accompanying that as a standard sub-use is that the cars may be dealt with as described by the petitioners, and that if it were a servicing or a repair business, it would not have any sales. It would be a repair shop or a garage or something like that. And that in the past, your office has permitted the special exception use for used car sales to include the inspection process that they've described.
I mean, yeah, that's why I asked, is there a space inside? Because really, vehicle services repair, if you look at Major Minor in what Mr. Jackson read, in that, I mean, we're really talking about, it's really more of the storage of those. Like, okay, you wreck your car, 10 people wreck their car. Now you got 10 cars sitting outside. Now you're into screening. Now you're into like they have to be stored on site. You're really into more of a storage situation, in that you're waiting for a car that's been wrecked and or needs to be repaired. It's sitting there waiting on parts. I mean, this is a little different than that, in my opinion. So, and that's why I asked if it's inside, because you're not going to be storing wrecked cars outside. You're not buying wrecked cars. You're not buying cars that need major repairs here.
If I may add. If you allow me to add anything.
I'll leave it up to the commission, though. Those are my comments.
If you allow me to speak, Mr. President?
Yes, please.
In my experience in the 15 years in this business, we come to realize that it's not fair for the customers to sell them a car that's not been inspected, oil changed, safety's been checked. We, from my existing businesses that I have right now, we do not do mechanical work for outside customers or returning customers. Our main purpose is before we put it for the front line and give it to the customers, these vehicles, they are used vehicles. They have to be checked. Oil has to be changed. Power steering oil is low. Brakes, rollers, we have to do that. I will not conduct business if I'm not 100% positive that the car is good and ready to go outside. Now, I tell my customers that realize that these are used cars, 2-3 days, they come back, the alternator is out. It's 4 screws, you just take it out and put it back in. That's the most thing that we do. I do not buy wrecked cars. I don't bring cars from the auction intentionally that had bad engines or that. But in my experience, it's a used car. I bring it, it's bad, I have to fix it. I cannot sell bad product to my customers. And there will not be a heavy usage of that, of the garage as a service. I mean, I have a reservation on being service and reconditioning. It's I think there's two different things, from a mechanic shop and reconditioning a vehicle to sell it. And any successful used car dealers who want to stay in business with positive feedback is they have to take care of the cars before we sell them. Thank you.
Are you do you have like specific environmental requirements you have to follow? Like does the state of Indiana have any?
With the other 2 dealers, there's nothing required. It's a detail shop.
So how do you handle your hazardous waste?
The hazardous waste with the oil, we have a container, 55-gallon that sits outside, and we have a company that comes and service it. Once it's halfway full or halfway, they come and they take it. It's not we dump it in the on the drain or on the ground. We do have
You
that.
do not do that.
We don't do that. Like I said, we do have the 55-gallon containers
Okay.
in every shop. This is where we put the hazardous waste if we have, which is not much usually.
And how many years have you been doing this in the other locations?
The one in Indiana here, 3 years. But before, I've been in business for 15 years.
And so you do this in other locations in other states?
In Illinois, we moved from Illinois here in 2019.
I have a question. So how many other sites do you currently do this activity at?
The business?
Yes.
Yeah, two. One on 10th and Franklin and one on 421 past the highway, next to Bozak Chevrolet.
Would it be an issue to continue those repairs at those different sites instead of on this one? Because what I don't want to happen is you have to go through this.
It's not convenient and it's not fair for my customers. You bring a car, engine light comes out. There's a sensor that needs to be changed. It's $10. We just take it, put it back in.
Is there a lift in the service area?
Yes, we do. There is a lift.
Any response, Attorney Hale?
Well, I understand that the petitioner is indicating that any work that is done, I have no problem with inspection, but if there's any sort of servicing, he has indicated that it's entirely limited to his own cars that are subsequently put out for sale, and it's not open to the public for any other type of repair or servicing. If you're going to move for approval, you may want to address that.
Yeah, can we make that approval based on the fact that it's only those cars that he is preparing for sale, that he make those minor repairs to, and that it not be a service entity, and approve this?
If that's addressed to me, you may do that. That's always up to the board.
It's always up to the board.
Well, they did make that statement that was what they planned on doing. It's just servicing the ones that they bring in. And they did say they were outsourcing big projects. They don't do that there. They just are looking for safety issues. And I don't think that should be a problem. And it's stated right in here in this section that you can do those things. So
I guess we just got to worry about how we go about wording that exemption so that we make it perfectly clear to the petitioner that that's what we want is what he says he's going to do.
Yeah.
I would just say, Attorney Hale, that's a good distinction, is that it's not a service shop at that point in time. It's still retailing, because you're preparing cars that you're retailing. You're not servicing the general public at that point in time. So that is a big distinction.
So we could put that in as a condition, that this is a facility that exists only for the sale of their own vehicles, not for the general public.
Mr. Zimmer, if I may.
Yes.
Attorney Hale, here's one last question for you.
Yes, sir.
If motion was put together, would you recommend that we include section 1405 that you included with this? Would we include the whole section of 14.5 or just part A? Or would it be a nice umbrella just to cover the whole thing? Because as I read through this, it also talks about parts being stored outside, vehicles being stored outside. How
I think I agree with what I assume is your intent, and that would be to have an umbrella and include the entire section. That would provide the most protection for everyone. And I think if you're looking for a motion to approve, that motion should definitely include a condition that there will be no servicing or repairing except for inspection and servicing of cars that are to be offered for sale by the petitioner.
I agree.
But all other requirements of section 1405 would be met.
Thanks.
Does that help you, Mr. Jackson?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
We have not, Mr. Hale, we have not heard your report on this. Do we still need to do that?
Yes, I think I'll be very brief.
Okay.
In my attorney report for petition B-105-22, the petitioner, Neapolitan Michigan City Inc. and Badi Daoud, the owners of the property are Hum Hum LLC and AK Investment and Consulting LLC. The request, as we have discussed at length, is for a special exception use to allow for used car sales at this location of 150 East US Highway 20. I would note that in addition to the materials that I cited in my report, which you have a copy of, the petitioner has provided me with additional notice documentation. I've had an opportunity to look at that. I find that the petitioner has met all of the requirements for notice that are set out in our ordinance and has followed our standard procedure, and you are free to decide this matter. And I would finally just indicate again that our discussion has led us to consider the condition that I've suggested at any rate.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or comments from board members? Any public comment related to this petition? Anybody watching? No? Okay, so public comment is closed. Then I'm looking for a motion then for this petition that would include that condition that Mr. Hale just stated.
Okay, I'm going to give this a try. And I'm asking that Attorney Hale please guide me if I misspeak on any part of this. I hope. So this is a motion to approve petition B-105-22, Neapolitan Michigan City Incorporated. The address is 150 East US Highway 20 in Michigan City, Indiana. In this motion, I want to include the attorney's report, include the planning department's report, also the conditions listed in the planning department's report, and then add the following conditions. One, that section 14.5 of the motor vehicle and dealer service all be added into this, added into the motion. And that any work being done on the vehicles on the property must be the property of the dealership. The vehicles must be vehicles that are being put for sale with the dealership. And I think that's it. Did I miss anything, Attorney Hale?
I think you stated it very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
I call for the vote. Mr. Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Klinder,
Yes.
Ms. Stransky,
Yes.
Ms. Van,
Yes.
and Mr. Zimmer.
Yes. So we worked it out.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Congratulations.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Best
Appreciate
of
it.
luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Ms. Collins. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay, the next item is old business, approval of findings and orders for the Ton and Blank petition on behalf of Boys and Girls Clubs of LaPorte County.
Mr. Zimmer,
Yes, sir.
may I present that?
Yes.
You all have a copy of my decision and findings of fact. I would summarize it as follows. At a public hearing that we held on December 13th, 2022, the petitioner, Ton and Blank Construction, LLC, on behalf of Boys and Girls Clubs of LaPorte County, Inc., approved petition B-104-22. The owner of this property is Paragon Group LLC, Jeffrey Katz, and what was approved was a special exception use to allow for this community event or community facility. We held our public hearing on December 13th, 2022. There are no special requirements required under our section 4.02. There were no conditions added by this body, and the BZA approved the petition on December 13, 2022. It was based on the petition, the presentation of the petitioner, and the materials that were set out in the record. You have a copy of it. It contains all of the findings that were made based upon the report of Ms. Collins and your planning department staff. An appropriate motion would be to approve the decision and findings of fact as submitted to you in written form.
Thank you, Mr. Hale. Then is there a motion?
Yes, this is Mr. Klinder via Zoom. I make a motion that we adopt the findings of facts from the planning department and Mr. Hale's attorney's report, and to approve petition B-104-22 for the Boys and Girls Clubs of LaPorte County.
Thank you, Mr.
Klinder. As a matter of clarification, Mr. Klinder, you're approving the decision and findings of fact that were submitted.
Yes, sir.
So there's a motion. Is there a second?
A second.
I call for the vote. Mr. Jackson,
Yes.
Mr. Klinder,
Yes.
Ms. Stransky,
Yes.
Ms. Vance,
Yes.
and Mr. Zimmer.
Yes.
Motion approved.
So is there any new business? It says none. Anything new you want to discuss?
No new business from me.
Okay, thank you. Any public comment? No public comment, so that's closed. So I guess we are adjourned then until Valentine's Day, February 14th.
Happy Valentine's.
Have a good evening, everyone. Good night.
That takes